have to hit. There we go. There we go. I'm like, wait. Good morning, Kitty.
Good morning.
Winded. You were winded. I'm still working on the. It's like I had started taking more of my parasite purge. So it's a mushroom tincture, and it tastes as bad as it sounds. Parasite purge mushroom tincture, brought to you by
Mushroom tincture sounds a whole lot better than parasite purge. Gotta tell you.
yeah, right. It's got this nasty bitter. It kind of goes good with coffee actually, because it's got that bitterness to it, and it really helps me with my body because every body has the toxins and the parasites built up in different areas of their body. And mine always hits my one nostril.
Yeah, I'm
Always.
stuffed up today.
Yeah. And yet this morning, two days pumping up the parasite purge again, right? And realizing as soon as my body starts to feel heavy, congested, just like it's like premenstrual without the menstrual. I don't have that no more. And it's just my body's like it's warning me that something's coming. And we talked about that on the weekend, how our body can be like warning us that something's coming and that we need to prepare ourselves. So that 1 day, 2 day, 3 day flu like feeling symptoms, whether it's coming out of the mouth or the butt, blowing your nose, whatever, we can embrace that and realize that, hey, wait, something good's coming and my body's preparing for that. Or we
Yeah.
can whine about being sick.
Well, I have had a conversation recently with my body about a little more warning. A little more warning.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah.
I get that.
Yeah.
I get that. We were giggling last night on Tea and Tarot about honoring our craft and not being it was the whole series of eights. So the power of eight, the eight, the strength card, and then the eight of wands, cups, the whole enchilada. And one of the cards mentioned holding back because of a worry and concern about sharing your craft with another. And I was reading from the Witch's Tarot. So it was speaking of the craft of um, witchery,
Yep.
and that's something that has been hammered, literally hammered out of society um, by a series of awful medieval actions. When I read the first 3 or 4 chapters of The Witch Wound, I was like, wow, the persecution of those who practiced the craft, it was not just women. It was women, it was men, it was children, it was shamanism, it was mixing of tinctures. So a natural path would have been considered a witch.
Hmm.
It was so massive, and it was discreditation. We're trying to
Yeah.
discredit them
Right.
for whatever, and there isn't one reason. There is a multitude of reasons. So when you start to embrace your craft, wow. And then what if you think about crafts as like crocheting? My gift.
I like that. Well, spell words are spells.
Yeah.
You know, um, talents could be craft. Our craft makes perfect sense to me.
Hmm. Yeah.
So
Yeah. I used to do watercolor painting, and my sister-in-law at the time, now my ex-sister-in-law, and I mean, they were kick-ass watercolor paints, and I did toll painting. I did a lot of things to get out of the house. It was my time away from the kids, my time. I mean, I ran a business. I had 5 kids. Damn, I deserved a day once in a while. And I remember when she said to me, "Oh, you're so crafty." hated that because I
And now,
wasn't.
not so much, huh?
Well, now it's a different reflection. Because at the time I thought, I'm not gluing fucking pom poms onto, like, this isn't kindergarten. Because great craft time in kindergarten. Oh my gosh, the power of words. Craft time.
Yeah. Yeah, and somebody saying it to may not have even had that same paradigm. That's the hardest thing for us to really understand. I was having that conversation with my granddaughter this weekend. You know, somebody telling you how you have to do something for them is on them. You know, you want to do it. Once you've done it, or you want to do it, and if their answer isn't thank you, I would have preferred versus you did it wrong. You're done. You know,
Oh, absolutely.
and that makes sense. Your reaction to craft may have been, now some people, they have whole rooms and they make their living what they call crafting, you know, and the art of crafting, you know, all of those things. I remember in college, it's been renamed since, but they had a building called the Music Practice Building. I'm like, what? It's practicing to be a building? You know, and it was really about people honing in on their craft. There were singing, there were all these little practice rooms, and there were singing rooms, and there were places they could tune their instrument. It was about their craft. They were crafting.
Yeah,
You know?
and every craft is a divine reflection of what it is that you're envisioning. Whether that's pom poms, as a teacher, did you ever do the turkey
Oh yeah.
hands? Oh my God, I love the turkey hands. And I love when the turkey hand comes out with like pom poms and feathers, and it's like the Dane Edna. I'm like,
Well,
oh my God, I love your turkey.
we used to do. There's a book, and I would say get it. You have Thanksgiving. It's a different date, but you have Thanksgiving, and is turkey Canadian also for Thanksgiving?
Yes.
Okay. So there's a book called Pete, the Plump and Perky Turkey.
Oh my God.
And in the book, Pete, the Plump and Perky Turkey, Pete finds out that this town is fattening him up for
Thanksgiving dinner.
Thanksgiving. And so they have an arts and crafts contest to decorate the turkeys in disguise. And ultimately, Pete hides in the disguised turkey and escapes. And it's a great book. And one of the fun crafts we used to do with the first and second graders to move beyond the,
Yes.
you know, tie it into literature is we had a model of Pete, and they took him home and disguised him and brought him back. Oh my God, they were hysterical. Some of them were so amazingly crafty, and, you know.
My birthday is on Thanksgiving weekend every year. Every year, because I expand my birthday as necessary. So October 9th, right? October 9th, that's the one. And it often lands on the long week. So I get the long weekend. And that also meant as a young girl, I would spend it with my grandparents, which was nice until about 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Because when I turned 19 and I got married, my husband at the time, my first husband, he liked spending time with my family more than I did. So it's interesting when you reflect back on life, isn't it?
It like, really is.
You like spending time with my family more than I did. He sat and did puzzles with my mom for hours. And I'm like, now I do puzzles with my mom. It's a different experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a craft too. Being, you know, how you are in your family and show up is also a craft, you know, because it becomes about who you are. How am I crafting my relationships? It's the word craft, when we let go of a limited definition of it, is really, you know, as I'm talking to you, I'm looking at this giant wasp crawling up my screen.
Wow, that's brave.
Yeah, well, I'm thinking, what can I catch the wasp in?
Not a wasp fan. I have not
I'm
been
not either.
stung by bees. I was stung by wasps, and those buggers they bite repeatedly, and it got into my boot when I was out at my uncle's farm. I spent a lot of time at the farm, and we were in the grain and we were digging. We were shoveling grain. These were things that I did, and I thought they were fun. They were fun. I was a city girl, and it got in the back of my boot, and I ran. And the problem with running was that my legs kept on banging and banging, and he just kept on getting more and more angry. And wow, like it was a problem.
Yeah, they don't. It's not like a bee, especially a bumblebee won't, because it only has one stinger and it's done. That's
Yes.
not true for a wasp. He is
No.
trying to get out though. He's crawling along the top of the screen looking for the little. It's like, I don't know how you got in, but you know, I will catch it and put it outside as I
Yeah.
run through the house. Unless he starts flying at me, then all bets are off.
Battle on, buddy. It's either you or me, and I am not losing.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I get that. I get that completely. So I want to
So
hear a little bit about what's going on in the like I like how on Wednesday Wisdom we go forward towards next Wednesday. Can we go back this week, like Monday, Tuesday? What's been happening?
well, it was a Scorpio moon, so everything's always about transformation with Scorpio. And when it's a moon, it's the private energy that is being asked to change, to shift, to look, to investigate, to become part of the cycle, the birth death cycle. And of course, we got Mercury retrograde, so that's always about the cycle of ourselves. And Scorpio is Pluto rules Scorpio, and of course, Pluto's in retrograde. So you've got in Aquarius, so you've got this vision, this transformation of what your vision has been. And really interesting that you picked like Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. It was about as much about who wasn't talking to each other planet wise as who was talking to each other. A lot of independent energy and not the moon influencing. And that included Pluto, that included Neptune. That was also going on with Neptune and Venus, how we value. So there's been this kind of churning of, first of all, Venus trying to, in what's called her fall position in Virgo, which means she's not as comfortable in that. It's the opposite of what she rules. It's her and so in this kind of solution generating energy that Virgo is for Venus, she's been trying to figure out, how do I transform something? So she's kind of pulled inward in this last couple days. What do I really value? It's almost like things came to us to have us internally have those bigger conversations about, how am I going to respond to this? How am I going to move forward? And then today is very much about a lot of discernment about that vision, about that focused flow. And there's a conjunction, which is Jupiter and Mars. So very much aligning our will with what truly have we learned about in the last couple of days that expands us. How are we? It's so much about this practice of how I'm going to respond, because these big changes are coming. Be aware this is a practice. So there may be smaller things that come forward that will help you really look at how we move from there.
When you say discernment, I think of pizza, and I'm thinking of Jeanette, which is beautiful because Jeanette, this is about a year and a half ago, she was talking about your pizza, and when if you
I
want
remember
to
this.
the
Yeah.
pepperoni pizza, what is it that brings you joy? What is it that like when you're discerning things, discernment, it's a big word, and it's really not. Like it can be so simplified. You need to go pee,
Me?
right? Well,
Yeah.
just in general, right?
Like,
Gotta
I'm
go
like, you're
pee.
asking me what? Wait a minute. That was random. What?
We can sit there in this discomfort. I've done that before. And a lady that does coaching here in Edmonton as well as me, that was one thing that she told a client, and that client told me, if you got to go pee, go pee. I'd like, go. Do not force yourself to be in that painful discomfort. If you're in a meeting and you have to go pee, excuse me, I need to go pee, and turn and go. It's not a permission thing anymore.
Yeah.
There's no need for permission. You got to go pee, go pee.
Right.
Politely communicate. That's where I've really learned. Be polite. Mm, communicate. I think communicate is more powerful and expansive. Communicate.
Yes.
Yes, say please and thank you. I mean, have you heard that song "Humble and Kind"?
Yes, I have.
Close the door, right? Say please, say thank you. Do. That was the song that my son and I danced to at his wedding. I bawled snot rockets. Now I'm okay. I can sing it. As soon as Chance is in the room, game over. I taught my children very well when it came to please, thank you, you're welcome, because I wanted them to understand the importance of communicating gratitude. Very important. When we're discerning what it is that we want in our life, the more that we remove what it is that is holding us back. Oh, Kitty, can't believe you're wearing polka dots.
Yep.
What?
You know,
At your age, Kitty.
yeah. You know, that's one of those things. And what's very interesting is your response to that is this is what we're talking about now, and you're in how you value. My response is, if you say to me, Kitty, I can't believe you're wearing polka dots. Here's my response. I can. Like, I'm not going to engage. That's one of those, again, I'm talking to my granddaughter, just don't engage in some of that. I can, like, it's
yeah,
that personal. Yeah.
And that is, own that power. Take back your power and control. Figure out where your power and control has been torn and ripped from you, and you gave it away.
Yeah.
Stop being a victim. You gave it away. Took me decade to learn that. And then another decade. I was on a podcast last night for Christopher Roche, was listening, and he was talking about his breakthrough moment when he went, like that moment when there isn't one aha moment, there's lots of moments. And it was a moment for him that reminded me of one of my breakthrough moments when somebody said to me, when are you going to stop being such a bitch? And it was somebody that deserved it for like ever. And that was reflecting on all my other relationships because I was angry. And the anger that I felt for one mosquito was just a mosquito. That one person in your life that drives you just like to drink or like whatever, that you want to numb.
Activates all of your pieces. It can draw you into their energy. Yeah.
Oh my God, just like a vortex. And I thought to myself, I had an answer, and that answer wasn't possible. And then I thought, no, because what if I live my life as though you are not on this planet? Because my thought was, I will stop being a bitch when you're not on my planet anymore. Like when the aliens come and suck you up and take you away. It didn't happen. So I had to work on me and deep, hard soul work beyond journaling. I had to go into the shadows. I worked with a shaman that took me down into my shadow self. And I remember he was counting down, like, we're going to count down to 100. And I wasn't even close. And he's like, and we're going to go deeper and deeper. And he got to like 300. And all I could think of was like, you said 100. How deep are my demons and shadows? I had to go that deep. That's what happens.
Yeah. When we take a look at what we value, how we look at it, there's a lot of baffling, cunning, and insidious things that we have bought into that we're not even aware of them, because that's part of what a pattern is. There's a repeat so that it keeps happening, and part of the awareness becomes about breaking a pattern is I have to be aware of what I've put into the pattern, how deep I have to go to figure that out. Why years ago, if somebody said you shouldn't wear polka dots, how dare you tell me, I think just thinking about that, it actually is a topic. For me, an indicator of when I need to step back is when I'm righteously indignant. When I have that, the only way I can explain that feeling is I go, like the right fighter position.
Oh, yeah.
And as opposed to the Wonder Woman position.
So different, right? For me, it's the, oh, no, you didn't. I pull out my
and you've already lost when you're, oh, no, you didn't.
Oh, no, you didn't.
You've already lost the fact that, yeah, they did. So starting with, oh, no, you didn't, starts with a denial.
Right? Yeah. Yeah. And it's in that
energy as soon as I did it.
Well, because when I say that this last week has been, oh, don't you love it? It's been a week of growth. Oh boy, what does that mean? It means that shit in my life that I thought was solid fell apart so that I could look at it.
I scratch my nose that way a lot.
Yeah,
I used to do that at meetings sometimes. Yeah.
Oh, loser. I can't believe that this is the way that our relationship has come to be. And then I look at it and go, wait, what was my expectation on the relationship?
Mm-hmm.
And if I don't want people having expectations on me,
it's that question. So what do you want?
Yep.
Back. To be brave enough to be ready for them to answer. Now, if they don't take the answer, I've heard people say, well, they're not really going to answer me. That may be true. That may be true. That doesn't release you from the need to, so what are your expectations? Here were mine, and own there's nothing wrong with expectations as long as they're communicated and you're aware of them.
And there's an agreement.
Right. That's but you can't reach an agreement until you know what it is.
Yes. Right. It's one of the Spice Girls, almost positive. Tell me what you want, what you really, really want. I'll tell you what I want, what I really, really want. I wanna. And then they said weird words that I never could sing along to. And it's having a clear understanding and then realizing that every time that we land on the mat of life the next day, oh my God, I can't believe she's changed her mind already.
Right.
Not completely changed it. I had some discernment.
But again, the sentence, I can't believe. Well, you've already given your power away.
Mm-hmm.
What if you change it to, I believe she changed her mind already?
Yeah.
Your assessment is already, and some of your judgment gets removed.
It does. It does. And if you can go back to a loving understanding of your person, whether that is the person that you're in a deep committed relationship with, your child, someone that you've been tied into a career with for a long time, those collaborative partnerships, and look at them and go, wow. Okay. Well, Kitty's 2 right now.
Yeah.
And she just opened up a bag of crafts, sparkles and pom-poms and sticks, the popsicle sticks. And she found the glitter glue.
Oh, glitter glue, bane of a teacher's existence. Though I like glitter.
I saw a TikTok where there was a guy that, and I'm not doing this to my laptop. I like my laptop. I bought it about 6 months ago and I had to really take my savings out, right, and give it. But they took glitter glue and they poured it over top of the keyboard. I know it's like, and like different colors outside, inside. And then when it was dried, they peeled it off. It took out all the crud. And they now had a cover for their keyboard.
Wow, you'd have to be really careful of the moisture on that baby.
Oh, I know, right? Like I recommend doing it on an old keyboard, like a keyboard
Right.
that's crashed, right? Like I mean, I've got a laptop, so that's a whole different that's a whole different caboodle. And again, be aware that there is moisture in glue.
Right.
Take a calculated risk. Calculated. I'm very logical and strategic, and I'm willing to risk it for the biscuit when it's in alignment with my core values. For me, family first. So is this moving me and my family? Then that is the people that were born into my family, the exterior people, the sisters, the cousins that made the cut, because they don't all get to stay. And then the familia, that whole, is this working towards that? Yeah. Okay. Then you can keep it on the plate of life. If it's not, it's got to go.
Well, Stephen Covey, the first time I've seen it, I know it's been done many, many times that I saw, was about putting the big rocks in the jar first and then pouring so the little rocks can go around it, versus if you trying to shove the big rocks into it, it doesn't work. And same space, just different approach to it. What are your big rocks? What are your values? And that's what this, very interestingly, this week has also been about the fact that Mercury retrograde, back over those beginning degrees of Virgo, all of those little pieces of building the bigger puzzle together, that solution generating, what is bothering me, what isn't working. And today it dips back into Leo. So it's taking that information now and taking it literally back to you internally, because Leo is the sign of self, what moves us forward, and having a big old conversation about it. Was that me that had a choice to make? Was it the other person? Was it a combination of both? And if it's a combination of both, I only have influence over my piece of it.
Right. And I mean, this can be in regards to little things like what's for dinner, to big things like it's time to renew the mortgage, or I hate my job. I hate it. I've seen that so many times where I was on vacation for 3 weeks, great vacation, the scenario, right? Came back to my job and everything, like I'm the list of 20 things. And have you considered retiring? And I'll say this to people if they're in their 30s, 20s, 50s, retiring from the commitment to be responsible for all of that. Like why are you holding yourself responsible for holding everybody else's shit together? Let it fall apart. And
I
then
had an opportunity yesterday to see some old friends. 3 of us are officially retired. The other 2 are still working. And just the understanding the shift of the level of omnipresent feeling that used to feel very oppressive, that's gone. And I'm applauding especially one of the other people that was there, in that they're like, this is what I'm going to give. Not I don't give just this is what I'm willing to give. And then accepting it. I know near the end of my teaching time, I had to make that decision. I had to say, you know what? I'm not here every night till whatever. I get up, come in the morning, and what's not done is just not done. It's not just about the kids, it's about the environment. If I'm showing up always tired trying to get all these things done, I'm still not showing up. So if some of the tasks don't get done, again, what you're saying, I can release myself from this whole other, life. Everything has is an organism. Everything has a life. Water has a life. An energy, is an organism. So is your job. And so
Mhm.
you can release yourself from these rules that you don't even know you've been imposing upon yourselves. Teachers are famous for this.
Oh,
It's about the kids. Well, it is about the kids, but it's also about you, because if you can't create an environment that the kids can thrive in because you're feeling oppressed, it's
yes.
on the kids. So,
Teachers, people that are in the first responders, healthcare, people that are in that high paying corporate position. When I pay you, I've heard this before. I've had some lucrative career steps. I pay you to do this. Well, you don't pay me enough. And you could never pay me enough to be that subservient to you. Nor is it healthy to work 16 hours a day, 5 days a week. That's not a fair agreement.
right,
So, what says, because I mean, whether you're looking at, when you look at a low level paying job, this is what Spirit's showing me so clearly, a low level paying job, I'm, pay me enough to do that,
right,
right? Minimum wage or less, because when you're in an apprenticeship program, they don't even pay you minimum wage often. I've been in that role too. Or your management. This is part of the expectation. You're on salary.
right.
So where is this written in the rule book of life? I have yet to see it. I've yet to see it. So that discernment right now is so pivotal. It's so pivotal.
And this month, I keep coming back to this because, and I'm not even 100% understanding. We talked about this at Spirit Communication last night. This is a chance to practice the response, to pay with intention, not to get it right, but to pay attention to what works for you, what feels all right. That's why, for me, when I'm feeling righteous indignation, I have stepped out of my lane, because
Mhm.
I am now everything around me. It doesn't mean that there aren't things I'm indignant about. It just means it's not righteous. Like, yeah, I don't like that. That's about me. He shouldn't be doing that. I don't, that's about me being in their lane, you know.
Well, and then when you bring the world into it,
Yeah.
I can't believe, oh, this one makes me go, people on their phones all the time. Okay, I understand. I understand that much of the technology that we hold is in our hands. It's not like I can open up my mail with a mail letter opener
Letter
and read
opener.
it. I don't have that anymore. My mail is on my computer. My calendar is on my computer. I do have a handwritten calendar as well. It helps me see the big picture.
Yeah.
Much of our lives are on technology. Are we using it? And instead of complaining about someone being on their device all the time, what is it that you want to be doing? Instead of doing the global, plan something. Plan an outdoor potluck. Invite me. I love potlucks. I made enough zucchini fritters for my potluck right now. There it is. It's in my kitchen. And Ralph's, I'm not sure if he's sleeping over out of town, but he's out of town. So I already got mine. Like, I've got enough in the freezer. Invite me to a potluck. What do you want more of? Create it. Don't wait for somebody to invite you to the next funeral. I had the most divine synchronistic event when I was at my mom's. I went there because she was getting her teeth done, and I found a dental hygienist to come into my mom's room and do hygiene work. She's going to be coming back to do x-rays, as well as looking at the periodontal. My mom's got some bone loss in her mouth and all of that beauty. So I went downstairs to try and find the general manager of the building. Like, oh my God, please come and see this in action so that you can allow the conversation to continue, so that there's a presentation for all of the residents and their loved ones, because it's the loved ones that do so much extra for their residents, for their mums, their uncles, their aunts, their husbands or wives. Judy Picoult, am I saying that right?
I think so. Pico. Yeah.
Picoult. One of my favorite authors.
Jody, you mean?
Mm-hmm.
I thought you said Judy. Jody.
Jody.
Yeah.
So on the bookshelf is a hardcover book. Oh my God. I love the feel, the soft, the touch. I'd rather have hardcovers than soft covers of my entire library. I've always dreamed of having that great big huge Wizards library.
Oh, it's the ladder that yeah.
Right? You could put it in a sea can. I could do it in a sea can. Right? And so this was on the bookshelf for people to take. And I bring books in all the time. So I open, I'm like, oh my goodness. So I bring it upstairs. As dental hygienist is working, I'm like, I wonder what that book's about. So the prologue, page 1. My calendar is full of dead people is the first sentence. I'm intrigued immediately. And I'm like, I don't know these people. I don't know what she's talking about. Then she's on a plane. Okay. She's describing what she's wearing on the plane. Okay. And then she goes up to unknot her, to get herself just settled. And the flight attendant says, ma'am, could you please take your seat? It strikes me their job isn't really very different from mine. So now I'm just like, what does she do for a living? If you're on a plane, you're not where you started and you're not where you're going. You're caught in between. A flight attendant is the guide who helps you navigate the passage smoothly. As a death doula, I do the same thing. But the journey is from life to death, and at the end, you don't disembark with 200 other travelers. You go alone. And I'm like, oh, I have read so many books on being a death doula. Like, I mean, I went on vacation reading, like, people were like, what are you reading? I'm like, oh, and they're like, oh, do you want me to get you a drink? Right? Like, sure. I'll drink and read my books that I'm really enjoying. Like, aren't you intrigued about the process of death and what happens to people and how? And they're like, no, I'm on vacation. Like, people were like, just like, step away from the lady reading about death. And yet, I don't see death as a terrifying experience. I like helping people create an experience. Like, the things that I love is to help people celebrate that place between I have a terminal death sentence, whatever word you need to use, and I get one more year to create a legacy with my family. How much fun can we have during this moment? And I'm a bit too much for some. And just that final breath of relief for others. The day before, I went to a massage and cranial sacral session with my friend. The cranial sacral really helps me untap the energetic emotional body. And the massage helps me with, like, she really worked on that whole neck thing. So I could actually, have some more comfort. And she gave me 2 messages. One, Nancy Sinatra, these boots are made for walking. And 2, expand the death doula experience. So I went home and I listened to The Boots Are Made for Walking, which is my intro song at my next speaking event. And then death doula. I I had a 98% average, Kitty. 7 months into an 8-month program. I had to pull out of the course. I had to work on other things. It was just like, oh, thank God my coach could help me through that one because I was just like, I was killing myself, like literally. I was so tired. I wasn't focused. I couldn't do anything well. And unfortunately, the university will not give me a dime of a concession. They're like, no, got to pay the full price. And I'm like, it's a hobby of mine. What? Right now, it's a hobby because hobbies are fun.
Right.
The
My job can be a hobby as well. Yes.
Yes, yes. Oh, definitely. I've already worked with a few families and they're off and running. They're like, I can't believe how much fun we're having with this project. Good. Good.
Yep.
It's really interesting what you can do. I had one family that was working with puzzles, and the way that the neurocognitive was shifting, it was almost like an autism, whereby there was too much stimulation from the pictures on the puzzles. So only one color was wanted. It was pretty hard to get a one color puzzle. And if you take the right kind of paint on a puzzle and the right kind of varnish on the pieces, you got a one color puzzle.
Wow. I would never ever thought of that. Well, first of all, I don't like puzzles.
I'm frugal. I'm very, very frugal. I had to be frugal for a long time. Sometimes my frugalness will lead to me having an abundance of money because I have not been spending on anything that doesn't go in that lane. And then all of a sudden, yeah, I got enough money to buy that because I've been carefully spending. I don't like the word budget. I'm working on that. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a good term for discernment. What am I going to spend this
Mhm.
money on?
Yeah.
What am I going to take a look at? I just bought for my screen room we put on a carpet. It's just a matte carpet, for the outside. And I found it's about just under 8 feet by 19 feet, 19 and a half feet. So I found a rug. I found many rugs. The most I could get is like 7 by 15, which is
Mm.
pretty decent size. And they were in the hundreds of dollars. Well, I found a blue and white one for $34. Now, I don't know how long it's going to last. And I thought, well, it's not really the colors. And then all of a sudden I'm like, no, I can make it be the colors. Like, I will add an accent color in this room now. So,
Absolutely. We can get so caught up in it has to be this way.
yeah.
I mean, when that carpet gets worn out, you can always have your husband lie down in a laying position and draw a line around him,
Uh-huh.
like they do at
The dead bodies, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
that'd be fun. And then you
Oh,
could lay down beside him, and then it could become a
I did that once leaving a job. It was a joke there were 3 of us working. It was the year I had done assistant special ed director called coordinator of special services in a very large city in the state of Maine. We won't go into great details. And I worked with 2 psychologists that year. And it was not an easy year. There was first of all, there was a lot of transition because the people who had been there before had been there before a long time. And the person that was leading it was also going through her own changes. And eventually she actually left the job very shortly after that, all of those things. So they always made the joke that I was the sacrificial lamb because they were the psychologists who got pulled on all these other things. Meanwhile, the rest of it just kind of fell to me. I'm like, hey, that's a lot of schools, you know. So the good news was I did a good job for them. The better news was I kept my old job, and after a year, they're like, "Are you interested in staying?" I'm like, "Do the words no, hell no mean anything to you?" My son was in kindergarten. It was just way too many hours. I had enough presence of mind to have the presence of mind to go, that's not my priority. But as a joke, my friend Kristen and I, for our friend Chris, who was a male, identified as a male, I laid down and she took tape. We took masking tape and we put it in his office. What we didn't know was, it was my last morning. What we didn't know was that he had a client coming in.
Oops.
So he had to go to my office. He goes, I can't do, but just take my office. It's cleaned out.
Well, and that's where, when your core values, I was explaining this to somebody in the most loving way, because they were discerning between staying committed in a relationship, a career relationship, and removing themselves from the career relationship and going into that in between. I don't know if I'm going to get money from a retirement. I don't know. I like a lot, right? And really, like, what would you do if I gave you 2 weeks worth of money? What would you do? Like, how, right? And then I can't pay my mortgage. How important is it for you to pay your mortgage? Can we expand your mortgage annuity? Like I know people who can help you out. I'm not a mortgage expert. I've got a lot of people I know, and really working on that discernment. Because if the person that you're working with says that they are a person of strong faith and conviction, I will place my hand on my heart and reach out to my higher power to ask for guidance and then get back to you kind of person. And their actions are from a different, like they're putting so much on your workload that you're leaving at the end of the day exhausted, and they want more. And what do you mean you're not done? Kitty, I'm so disappointed in you. You really have to take the time. And I've been working with her for about, oh gosh, a year. And journaling has not happened yet. And you know how much I love to journal.
Yes.
So she's like, I bought a journal. And I'm like, excellent. I'm going to use it. And I'm like, beautiful. And I don't know how. So I said, may I read to you some of my journals? So I opened up the drawer. I've got a three layer plastic bin thing full of journals that I've written in. Because sometimes I'll pull out a journal that's got some space in it and add to it. I don't necessarily do them all chronologically. And I read, and she's like, so you just wrote it like that? Yeah. She goes, well, that sounds like something they write in a book. I've got a creative writing degree. My writing is more like a book.
Well, and
Yours can be yours. You can
yours
say,
can be doodles with words. Yeah.
yes. Like, you can begin with, fuck, I don't know what to do. It's okay. And if you're concerned that someone's going to read your journal, putting a piece of paper on the front of it that says, my journal, do not read. I have a shovel. I will use it. Whatever. Honor it. Carry it with you. I've had people that relationships where it wasn't safe to journal. Put it in a lockbox in your vehicle under your seat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, and immediately, if you aren't safe to write something down, then you're not safe. You can just stop there. And it's, it's such a, we are learning about communicating with ourselves. And sometimes the way we communicate ourselves is put it outside ourselves. We talked about in our optimized class, our least subjective energy is our private energy.
Mhm.
Because we don't, that's why we talk about progressed moons. So sometimes taking it outside is just to look at it. I have no intention of having my journals ever read by anyone else. So I have an agreement with a friend, they get burned. There's no great thing to find out. I don't want them read. I don't,
Mm-mm.
um, and I know there are other people that's very different, but
That
it's not.
becomes a legacy. It becomes a legacy piece.
Right.
And there are different forms of writing. If you're in a place whereby you want to have a statement to your children or your grandchildren, and it doesn't have to be because you got a death sentence.
Right.
You may realize that you're going to die. Well, we're all going to
Yep.
die.
At some
We're
point.
all
Yep.
going to die. That's the one common denominator. Besides the you are responsible for your own decisions.
Yep.
You know.
And the only constant is change.
There's
That's
the
the
rule book, right? Like there's a better rule book than you're on salary. You must stay late 5 days a week because you're on salary.
well, and somehow there's a big difference when someone offers you, I feel kind of disappointed. I was hoping you would do more versus, you're just, but as soon as somebody starts with the words you are, that's a you problem. You're telling me about me. If you're using things like, and that still can be a guilt trip. Well, I'm very disappointed because I'm willing to stay here and work. Once again, that's a you problem. But thank you for letting me know that it's about you. Once again, like, you know, um, there's so many different ways, and again, being responsible, just what you said, for even the boundaries I draw. You know,
I got to
you
tell you
know.
the cards. I got to tell you the cards. I drew 3 cards. Oh my god. Ah! So I pulled from the Oracle Deck Soul's Journey. It's a lesson card book. First one, acceptance. It's
Yep,
beautiful.
acceptance. Yep.
I am learning to accept the things I cannot change. Then the death card.
Ooh.
I am learning that endings are merely beginnings. Interesting. Purpose. I know what I am here to do.
I feel like if you can do the first two, that one steps forward.
Absolutely. God grant me the strength to accept the things I cannot change,
The
to
courage to change,
change the things I can, right?
yeah, courage to change things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference.
Well, and that's where discernment comes in so beautifully because sometimes it's when we throw our arms up in the air, we come home from work, and we throw our arms up in the air when we walk into the safety of the foundation of where we live, that safe space. I'm like, I'm so tired of this bullshit.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like Jamie. Jamie just wrote, yep, let's go with the flow. Yeah, I am so tired. In that space, you get to do all of those things so you can use your discernment.
I can't call in sick tomorrow. You have a pounding headache. You've been on the toilet for 3 hours, but they aren't going to be able to run a till without you. The whole hospital is going to shut down because the unit clerk isn't there. I can't pay my mortgage if I don't go to work for one day.
Yeah.
Is
Yeah.
it true? Are you
And
sure?
even if it is true, what can you do differently?
Yes. Call your
So,
mortgage company. Ask them to delay your mortgage.
yeah.
Get on a different plan. I can't do that.
You're not, And sometimes to remember, in the moment, I'm fine.
Yes.
Me living in this anticipation that something else is going to happen. In the moment, I'm fine. Now, that doesn't mean I don't have plans for other things, but I don't live in that moment. How much do we give away by living in fear of what is to come?
Oh, it's so interesting. We can begin to boldly accept the things that we want to do. And bold acceptance of the things that we want to do allows for envisioning.
Yep.
We don't have to tell the whole
I
wide
love
world
that.
what we want
Yep.
to do. We can simply begin a vision board. I love doing vision boards. And I've had people that, oh, we should get together. I'm here. I have enough magazines, glue, and scissors. I've got like 12 pairs of scissors. Come on over, make a date. After this, I'm getting ready for a meeting with a bunch of authors. I am part of another book because I'm not writing enough. I'm editing, it's different than writing. And for me, I've learned to use my phone. I talk to it and it dictates. And then I've got a girl that helps me make sense of it. And the anthology is called I'm So Glad You Left Me.
Oh, I like that.
Me too.
I like that. Well, here we come up to an hour once again.
Yep. Bada bing, bada bang. So much fun. Thanks, Kitty. I love Wednesdays. And
I
I'm
do
looking
too.
forward to what we are reading together as well.
Yes, and it's a wonderful check-in philosophically. Take a look at. Let me talk about a little bit because we got a couple minutes. What's coming this week? We're getting ready for a full moon. You know, thanks. That's nice, Jamie. Can you see Jamie's comments?
No.
Oh, Jamie
Oh,
says,
there's 3 comments. Oops.
can you see them?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, no fear. Go with the flow.
Yep.
Yes.
So we have a full moon coming. It's a busy full moon. It will be in, of course, Aquarius. And it is, so it really is about, thanks, Jamie, really is about our vision of what's coming forward. And once again, Venus is playing a big role this month. What do I believe? What balances do I find in this vision? And the rest of this week is a very busy aspect week. Lots of additional conversations. Again, I'm being told this is a chance to take a look at how do we want to experience things? How do we want to respond to them? I've been talking about this now for 2 months, but especially this particular month, the water is bubbling through. We got half the world on fire, half the world being flooded. There is emotions coming up that are breaking, and it isn't about not having them. It's about how am I going to react to them? And again, as the week goes on, it's also about the planets that aren't in conversations together. They're just not, because there's a lot of independent growth happening right now for all of us. Things working in their own areas to get together. And then that moon will shine quite a light on what the vision of that's going to be. So,
Wow.
yeah.
Wow. It's really beautiful because we all have so many different talents that we've developed and honed. Your talent for astrology is been developed for decades. My understanding of it, because of Optimize and what you've been teaching us, is definitely advanced compared to what it was. My tarot and oracle and channeling and that shit, I've been doing it for 35 years. Definitely got some skills. And then I think of the human
You have a
design.
craft you're working on. We're back to
Absolutely.
craft. Yeah.
And then I think of human design and how much that combines both of what we do.
Yeah.
And a friend of mine said, well, you can run your own human design. I'm like, I know I can. And I only have so many hours in the day to study. Like, I've only got so many hours in the day. You can publish a book on your own. You don't need a publisher. Yeah. If I want to publish that way. I'm publishing in a way that not only will it be a international bestseller, I'm applying for awards. Why?
Yeah.
Because it's a legacy piece, one of 3.
Yes, she's already. So I'm looking forward to having the first cut in the read. So we'll be back. We'll be back next week, everybody.
Yep.
And thank you, Jamie, for joining us. Dancing in the moonlight. Yep.
Oh yeah, dancing in the moonlight. Enjoy that new moon. The moon. Just
the full moon. Yep, it's the full moon. It's
moon.
Next Tuesday. So it's next Monday. It's the full moon. So
enjoy the moon.
Enjoy.